Hey, what's up, Roxstars? It's Rox with a little bit of talk about what's at the top of the blog.
Rotating my stylist. Brokenness feeling like sin. Now no breath, low dollar. Used to be left on red. Now all the girls go holler.
All right, you guys, I'm feeling good today. We back in the studio. I ain't got to be pressed for time on my lunch break or nothing, you guys. I just got a little bit more freedom, and I am so happy about that. How are you doing today, Roxstars? Good? All right, first story up. Unless you've been living under a rock, you know that Juan Dixon was fired from his head coach job at Coppin State University. And that is a small HBCU up in the DMV area. I'm not quite sure exactly if it's in Maryland, Virginia. It's up there somewhere, you guys. And yes, they have finally laid him off or fired him. Okay. I figured it was coming. We knew about the lawsuit that one of the former students there that was also on the basketball team had brought forth against one of the other coaches, or just part of the staff, I should say, the basketball team staff there at Coppin University. Remember, there was a young man that was saying that one of the coaches there had catfished him and kind of coerced him into sending him pictures of himself, nude pictures and videos, and then released it when the young man did not want to have a sexual relationship with the coach, blackmailed him, held funds from the scholarship. Many things in retaliation was done to that young man. In return, the boy went to Juan Dixon and let him know what was going on. And the reports are saying that Juan Dixon did not do anything to protect that student. Instead, the report had fallen on deaf ears, and nothing was done. So the young man, after he had to leave Coppin State University, because like I said, he didn't have his scholarship anymore, he decided to sue. Now, just because he has been fired, we still don't know if that is because of his part in that lawsuit. But I can tell you some of Juan's stats, okay? I'm going to read to you guys what it says here. It says, Juan led the Eagles team to a 131 mark in 6 seasons, including a 923 record in the 2022-2023 season. So not really the best. Okay. He did have one standout year. I would say, I think that was in 2020 to 2021. They actually won the MEAC North Division title during the shortened season. You guys know that was during COVID. Okay, and if I have to joggle your memory, that is also the time when supposedly Juan was having an affair. Okay, I was just like, maybe that affair, that's terrible to say. But maybe him some side ass is what, got him in gear and got them kids to the winning title. That only happened once though. And when you look at the overall look for this Eagles program at Coppin State University, 51 to 131 really is not that good. Okay. So, that also could have weighed in, because it's just sort of like, what we keeping him for? We ain't winning shit, and he's in trouble. That's more headache than the university even wants to deal with. I actually thought it would happen much sooner than this, but I guess maybe they had to do their internal investigation and all of that. When it comes to that lawsuit, that maybe, they had to just wait until they did everything the right way, dot the I's, cross the T's. Okay. And once they got through them alphabets, they went on and let Juan Dixon go. I'm not happy for him. Nobody needs to lose income. One of the good things about this is that he can fall back on Robin Dixon's salary. Her financial place and standing is a little bit more firm than his, but just a little bit, because we still not sure what is going to happen to Robin when it pertains to Real Housewives of Potomac, because of the whole scandal with Juan cheating and them keeping that from the show, but then trying to get money off of it behind the paywall of Patreon. Okay. So everybody is yelling for Robin to be either downgraded to a friend of the show or just have to sit a season out. If it was just one season, I think she would still be fine. She could come on back as a full-time housewife, or, you know, and her finances won't be, you know, she'll still be able to handle her bills, I'm sure. But if it goes long-term, then yeah, that might be a little bit difficult. I can tell you what, I wish I was a fly on the Dixon household wall just to see, you know, how it could be. You know, I think that they probably knew that this was I would think that they would know that this was coming, even though Robin wouldn't have let us know that, because at the reunion, she was just like, Juan did all the things that he was supposed to do. You know, the reports are false. You know, she has every confidence that Juan is going to be fine. She wasn't denying what the young man had been through with one of the other staff members, but Juan was in the clear. Let Robin tell it. The school said not so fast, okay? And so I'm sure they're still dealing with that legal part of that case, and just having to maybe rearrange some finances, you know, to make sure that they can cover things until they come out on the other side of this. Do I think that Juan will probably get another job somewhere as a coach? Well, that remains to be seen. I think it is good that he led that team to a championship title. So, I mean, he does get to add that to his resume. But also, when you look at him in a leadership position, he's supposed to be the head coach. He's supposed to be protecting the team. He's supposed to be doing all the things to make sure that his boys, you know, are okay. Another school might be a little hesitant to put him in that position, because it's just sort of like, now, are we bringing you here for you to do the same thing and not look out for the best interests of these kids? You know, so, you know, but yeah, it was all over everywhere. I kind of feel, y'all know me, Rocky is just a little bit of a bleeding heart, a little bit. And I feel bad when people lose income, because I know what that, well, I've never been fired, but we've gone through our changes in my own household, and you know, it's just never something that I would wish on people. So yeah, I do kind of feel bad for them. You know, when it rains, it pours. Okay, it's hailing like a motherfucker for the two of them. It's one bad thing after the next. But what I will say is, if they can weather this storm, come out on the other side of it, you know, it'll make their relationship stronger, because they've been there for each other to, you know, to get through it. So it could either turn out that way, or it could turn out that it'd be too much pressure on the relationship. You know, this on top of the scandal with him cheating, or him supposedly, you know, let Robin tell it, he didn't do anything. He didn't sleep with the girl or whatever. Even if he didn't sleep with that girl, which I still find highly unlikely, there have been other women as well. I mean, there's a picture circulating around now. Somebody sent me a picture of him and some girl at a laundromat in the Maryland area. And, I mean, somewhere in Maryland. Maryland is a whole damn state, but, you know, somewhere in Maryland, I guess near the school or whatever, he was at a laundromat with a girl. I mean, the picture didn't say much. I was just like, I mean, he could just be there. It could be anything. But, you know, as stuff starts to just compound one on top of the other, yeah, they've been through a lot. So we'll see what happened. But as far as Copen State University is concerned, they said, yes, it's a wrap on that. You did wrong, so wrong, so wrong, so wrong. It's it, do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do-do, baby. It's a wrap for you, baby.
All the girls gon' follow, all the fake fans gon' pile up. I need peace to borrow, get that shit right back tomorrow somehow.
All right, you guys, next story up. So, I can tell you, it's a lot of things happening in the world today that is just really starting to just make me be a little concerned, okay? And, you know, I told you guys about how my anxiety works and all of that. But there's a lot of things that's just happening that's just hard to ignore. This bank collapse in Silicon Valley Bank. it's just really, it's thrown all of the banks into a big tizzy. And yeah, it makes me worry about my money that's in the bank. Okay, now good thing that this happened this year when a bitch ain't got no damn savings no more, because I spent all of my fucking savings on my taxes last year. Now last year, if this would have happened, I'd have been concerned, because I had a whole bunch of money in the bank last year. But baby, I cleaned that shit out just so I can make sure that I came into 2023 with a clean slate. So nigga ain't got nothing. They take them little few dollars that's up in there, and you know, of course I wouldn't want them to do that, but you know, it's not the same. But many people who have their money in these banks, and you know, the FCC has always said that our money is protected and we don't have to worry, and you know, it is there and it'll be covered even if the bank would. It starts to make you just feel like, nigga, do I need to bring my money to the house and put it under the mattress? Now, no, I'm not telling you guys to do that, okay? But it definitely is concerning, because it's just sort of like, now, what the fuck is going on? So let's talk about Silicon Valley Bank. So it was a highly regarded bank that was developed, or created, I should say, let's see, by Bill Biggerstaff and Robert Masaris. Okay, 40 years ago, they created this bank, and it was a highly well-regarded techie type bank. This bank provided money, loans, and the such support for startup companies, venture capital firms, and wealthy tech workers. And you guys know when the tech industry first started, you know, of course, we didn't have much knowledge on what was going on with the techies and the computers and all of these .com companies. And so the large traditional conventional banks, they would not give loans to these young techie companies that were trying to get started. They wouldn't give the loans to them because they didn't have any collateral. They didn't have anything to show for it. I mean, this is a college kid, maybe hasn't even graduated from college, just coming to them and asking them for money for backing for a company that the banks just could not trust. So this bank was created so that all of those people would have a place to come, get some money, start their companies. And you guys know, like I know, the .com industry just blew up. Remember when it was a huge bubble in the end of the 2000s, 2008, 2009 or something like that, when the techie companies were blowing up, you know, or maybe it was the beginning of the 2000s, and then the bubble burst. You know, eventually the bubble burst. This bank actually almost went under back then because they had grew too fast. Actually, this was in the 90s when it blew up. Okay, the .com industry blew up, and then at the beginning of the 2000s is when the bubble burst. The bank almost collapsed then, but it was able to recover. Before that, what made this bank so special was the fact that they would give this money to these young companies. They would get started. They would do very well. They would tell their wealthy friends, their wealthy clients. Other companies that were trying to get started would come. Word of mouth made that company grow. They said that the average account there, 90%, actually more than average, 90% of the people who have their money in that bank had at least $250,000 in their account. Okay. So the bank was doing well. During the pandemic, the bank even did better because you guys know, like I know, many businesses profited, especially techie companies, because that's all we could do during the pandemic was be on our computers, Zoom, and you know, all of these different apps that we had to take advantage of because nobody could go anywhere. You couldn't see anything physically. You had to do it all on your computer. So there was a major boom when that happened. They got all of this money that was put into their accounts. And then I'm going to read to you what it says, because I still don't 100% understand it, but I'm going to read to you what I read in an article. It said that in Silicon Valley Bank's case, this ended up being a big problem when people were putting their money in there during the pandemic. This became a big problem when its extra billions were invested in treasury bonds with long-term maturities, and the Federal Reserve raised interest rates, which in turn hurt the value of government bonds. And then with each tech sector struggling recently, more depositors took their money out. So there was this mass withdrawal, if you will, from what I understand, and the bank it was just way too unstable. Everybody started taking their money out at the same time, and it caused the bank to it's a wrap on that one too, you guys. So they had to sell a part of its bank holdings at a loss of $1.8 billion, and federal regulators took control of the bank last Friday. So it's gone. People have removed their money, but I think now people are concerned that the same thing could happen to other banks as well. So it is concerning. You know, when we think, of course, I know the big banks, Chase, Wells Fargo, Bank of America, you know, those type of banks are well established and everything, but still it just makes you wonder, like, gosh, could something like that happen there? People have way more trust in the bigger banks, but still, it's still something that kind of keeps you on edge. And even if you don't understand all the ins and outs of why that happened, you understand when a motherfucker took your money out your account. You understand when you ain't got no damn money no more, and you worked hard for that money, and now it's all gone. And where do you go if everybody is facing that same problem? So it's just sort of like, are they going to cover everybody if everybody loses their money? So yeah, it is concerning, and definitely not an argument against, you know, bringing your money home and hiding it somewhere there, you know, for those who just truly don't trust the system. But, you know, that's never a good idea. And if everybody starts doing that, then, you know, you can imagine the crime rate will rise, because then everybody will know that their money is home. So, you know, I don't think it's no cause for alarm where everybody needs to be removing their money and all of that. But yeah, it's definitely something that you got to keep your eye on. Okay. Especially if you are supporting smaller banks, you know, and banks that are not quite as established as the huge banks that we know of. You know, that is something that you have to remember, that something like this could happen to a smaller, less established bank. And, you know, this is a blemish on the small banks for sure, because we've got Black-owned banks that are trying to get their feet off of the ground. I'm sure stuff like this does not help them. I don't 100% fully understand, other than the bank collapsed because, I don't know, folks were just not trusting that the bank would be able to secure their funds. If you are a rock star, financial type person, accountant, you know, somebody that just really understands the waves of the stocks and the way that these things happen, then maybe you can clarify and explain it to us a little bit more. Bottom line is, do a bitch need to be worried about her shit that's at Wells and Chase and USAA Bank? Like, do I need to be worried about all my accounts, or what? Even though it's a little bit, it's still mine. All right. And I would like to know that when I wake up in the morning, my little bit is still going to be there. So y'all go on and weigh in the comments below, you know, and let us know about that. Did any of you guys put your money in the Silicon Valley Bank? I mean, just as the name says, the banks were concentrated up in the northern part of California, in Silicon Valley area, Santa Clara. Okay. But the banks expanded. They had banks all over the United States. They went into Canada. They went into Europe, and even into Israel, I believe I read. So the bank was definitely expanding and doing well out the country and everything. But yeah, this major blip made the bank go under. So I'm gonna move on, but y'all let me know what y'all think about all that.
Let's go bravo, smile so much to hide my sorrow, faith is shaky and vibrato.
All right, you guys, next story up, we can discuss the Oscars, the 96th annual Oscars simulcast that came on last Sunday, I believe it was. They said 18.7 million people tuned in to watch. They said that actually is the third least watched award ceremony in the 96-year history. And that's probably because of a number of things. One, the drama coming off of the Oscars last year. People didn't even care to watch this year. Also, people just don't really care as much about award ceremonies as we once did as a society. And then we also have to remember the hashtag Oscar so white, that we've been talking about for, I feel like, almost as long as I've been doing Top of the Blogs, and even longer than that. Which is just the knowledge of knowing that the Oscars historically do not reward Black actors, Black producers, Black directors, Black cinematographers, videographers, costumers. Like, anybody Black has the even harder time of finding themselves on the nomination list. Okay, this year we didn't have that many Black people that was even nominated, so that probably made a lot of Black people not be interested in the awards. Then, of the main, the big awards that everybody wants to see, which is Best Actor, Best Actress, Best Supporting Actor, Best Supporting Actress, the score, the music from a movie, Best Movie, Best Director, those big names. I mean, those big ticket awards, nobody Black won, with the exception of Ruth Carter. And shout out to Ruth Carter. I'm gonna have to give her the fist pump of righteousness, because on top of Ruth Carter being able to win the Oscar once again for her costuming in Wakanda Forever, she also won an Oscar a few years, I guess, back in 2017, 18, somewhere around there, for her costuming also for Black Panther. Okay. And that would make Ruth Carter be the first Black person, period, to win 2 Oscars, which is a big deal in and of itself, because not many people even get the chance of being, nominated, much less receive 2 Oscars for the work that they've done on a film. Of course, unless you're like one of the big names, your Meryl Streeps and your, those type Al Pacinos and all that. I'm not sure if Al Pacino's even won an Oscar, but you know what I'm saying, like the big names. So I think that is fantastic to see her up there. She looked beautiful in her yellow. It was a very big yellow, it was like an A-shaped smock almost, but it had a long train and everything. She looked very, very pretty, vibrant. That yellow, that sunflower yellow, is so pretty on Black skin. So great for her. Not so great for the others. Now, we know that Angela Bassett was nominated for her role as the Queen in Wakanda Forever. This is the first time that anybody from a Marvel Universe movie has been nominated for an Oscar, so that was a big deal. We also had Brian Tyree Henry. He was nominated for his Best Supporting Actor in Causeway, and she was Best Supporting Actress in Wakanda Forever. Okay, so those were the 2 that everybody was banking on, and really mostly Angela Bassett, because she didn't win for What's Love Got to Do with It, which I believe that she should have won that year. I feel like I did see most of the movies that she was going up against that year, and I felt like she deserved that Oscar. She didn't get it. When it comes to the Oscar this year, I would have loved to see Angela Bassett win. I had a feeling that she wasn't going to win, because I had been paying attention to the other awards that lead up to the Oscars. And even though she had won the Golden Globe and the NAACP, she did not win the SAG award, and she didn't win the BAFTA award. So those are usually, if you don't sweep all of those other awards, then you're not a shoo-in for the Oscars. Usually, if you get all of those awards, then okay, you're gonna get the Oscars too. But when there's some differences in who they've awarded the award to on the SAG and that BAFTA, then that's kind of makes it be kind of anybody's game. So I wasn't 100% thinking that she was going to win. And then, of course, I was very disappointed when she did not win. Now, I do love Jamie Lee Curtis. I haven't seen the movie. I haven't seen any of the movies, so that's why I can't really say whether or not Angela Bassett should have won. Okay, I would have loved to see her win. because I think that as an actress and just her history of work and the good things that she's done when it's come to the screen and the TV, yeah, it would have been nice to see her win that Oscar. But I was like, yeah, if you would have been paying attention to any of the award show, then you would have already had an idea that she was not going to win. Brian Tyree Henry, he lost to Hui Kwan, and I don't know who he is, but I'm assuming that he is an Asian person that was in that movie Everything Everywhere All at Once. Okay, I need to watch that movie because that movie swept the Oscars, and everybody was saying how quirky and entertaining the movie is, and evidently everybody felt that way because they got everything. So yeah, very, very sad. I know social media was in a fucking tizzy when she when Angela Bassett lost. And everybody just kept saying she deserved it, she deserved it, she deserved it. And yeah, I mean, I would have liked to see her win, but I mean, she didn't get it. It's hard. It is hard for Black people to win these Oscars. What's funny to me is how people just was like, you know, well, I don't even care about the Oscars and, you know, this, that, and the other. But then they had a whole lot to say when their person that they wanted to win did not win. Okay. So I will always maintain that those award shows, the big ones, the Grammys, the Oscars, the Tonys, the Emmys, they do mean something to these people. And you could see her face was hurt when she did not win. She was able to recover. You know, it is what it is. But yeah, you want to be rewarded and you want to be recognized by your peers when you work hard on stuff. So it's not that those things don't matter. It's just not always fair. Favor is not always fair, you guys. So we still love Angela Bassett. I thought she looked beautiful. She was wearing Moschino, okay? That purple, it was so, you know, it had the big drama up here and it came across. It was some, you know, was like some layering and pulled around and all of that. And she had her hair old Hollywood glamour, like a bob, but curled and, you know, coiffed and hairsprayed in place. And she looked absolutely beautiful. So she is a perfect representation for Black women and Black people, the community as a whole. So even though she didn't win, she is still a Oscar award winner to me. How did I feel about the rest of the show? I didn't really pay attention after that. I watched her not get her award, and then I watched Rihanna's performance of Lift Me Up. You know, that song, the song is cool, but it's like a lullaby, and it's not, you know, it's the same thing kind of over and over. And I just had a feeling that Rihanna wasn't going to win either. And she didn't. So yeah, it wasn't for all of us that was rooting for the people that we wanted. Yeah, it just didn't happen for our folks, y'all. It just didn't happen. And, you know, if the Oscars continue to make it very difficult for Black people to win, then, you know, Black people will just stop supporting altogether. Well, I don't know, because there are really a lot of movie buffs out there. But let's talk about, child, it's hot in here. Let's talk about what everybody had on. I wrote everything down, so let me just look at my notes here. I told you guys Angela Bassett was wearing Moschino. Cara Delevingne, oh my God, Cara Delevingne. Beautiful, beautiful red dress. Oh, she might have been my best dress that night at the Oscars. She was wearing Elie Saab. Hailey Bailey wore Dolce & Gabbana. She looked very pretty in that almost Tiffany blue. I think they wanted it to kind of look like the water, you know, it was very sheer and it came up, and it, you kind of have that, you know how the new thing now is they leave the edges of the dress like unfinished, so it kind of looks fringy or something up here at the top, and in the bodice it was just really like pretty and intricate, and it did all of these crisscrosses, and then the bottom, you know, she had some little hot pants or panties on, but the bottom was all sheer and fluffy. She looked like a princess. I thought she looked very pretty. I thought Rihanna looked very nice in her black. It was like a sheer and black leather with a train dress. Her dress was by Aliyah, A-I-H, okay? I love the way that Janelle Monáe looked. She had on that orange and black. It was black on the top, and the dress at the bottom was orange. It was a Vera Wang dress. She looked beautiful. Kate Hudson and Rodarte, I think that's how you say the name. She looked Oh, she almost was my best dress too, you guys. I loved it. It was a silver shimmer number, which has been done and redone and overdone for these award shows. But still, if you do it right, I mean, what can you say? Tim's looked beautiful. She was wearing Le Vert. Is that how you say the name, you guys? In the all white. I normally do not like white dresses because it just always makes me think of a wedding. Okay, but when it's done right, and then, you know, she has that gorgeous dark skin, so like white against that dark skin, the contrast is so stunning. I thought she looked beautiful. Okay, feel bad for the person that sat behind her because all of that was whipped up, and I swear it was probably about this big, or maybe on one side, and then it kind of tapered down on the other side. And you could even see there's video and shit of people trying to see around her at the Oscars. I would have been so pissed. Like, you ain't even get to go to the Oscars but this one time, and then you get seated behind Tim's child. Danny Guerra, you guys know who I'm talking about, from Black Panther. I also loved hers. She had on a black Jason Wu dress with very much that same unfinished top and the bodice that I was telling you guys about, but it went out full at the bottom. And her hair was up like in an ode to the Mother Africa, you know, with all of the different layers of the bun balls that goes up high. She looked very regal. I thought she looked beautiful. So those were my people that I remembered. I had to look them up, but yeah, those were the people that I remember that I liked the most. Now, when it comes to the after parties of the Oscars, you know, I think that that's a time where everybody can just really put on their best party gear and just really just live it up. Okay. So I don't usually care if people are stuffy looking at that or if they just letting it all hang out. Like, that stuff doesn't bother me. There was much to say about Sierra's fence that she wore, with some panties underneath, because that's basically all it was that she had on. And what I will say is, Sierra's a beautiful woman. She has a beautiful body. And we all know that. And clothes lay perfectly on her. Do I feel like that dress was a whole lot for the party? Well, I kind of feel like I ain't never been comfortable with any of these dresses that people wear, where all of their underwear, where all of their body is showing. It's just not a style to me that I've ever really taken to. So yeah, to me it was a lot, but all of the dresses where people wear that's super revealing like that is a lot to me. The debate has been whether or not she should wear it as a married woman, a mother of, that has kids and all of that. And if your husband don't have a problem with it, then I don't see a problem with her wearing it. Even if she is a mother, even if she is a child, because even if she is a wife, because mothers and wives still want to look edgy and fashionable and all of that, controversial sometimes. And so I get it. But yeah, I'm never a fan really of that really exposed look. She looked naked, okay, with maybe just a little tiny G-string panty on. And I just feel like it puts you walking around like that, people are going to stare and look at you, and it's going to be hard for them to keep their, it's just, but like I said, if Russell was fine with it, then child, what I'm going to be worried about it for? Everybody's saying that Cece needs to decide what she going to be, a devout Christian, because she was just praying with the jail people just a few days before the Oscars, or is she going to be showing up like this? Clearly she's going to do both. I've always said, people don't like you to talk bad about, and I don't think that I'm saying anything bad about Sierra, but I've always said that Sierra adopts the personality and the things that the person that she is with likes to do at the time. She doesn't ever seem to be, like, I still don't know if I feel like I know the real Sierra. I feel like Sierra, now that she's with Russell, now she's, going to the hospitals and talking to the kids and blah-blah-blah-blah-blue. And when she was with Future, she was a different way. And when she was with this other one, I just feel like she's never really, lack of better words, maybe authentic in what she is. You know, but I thought she looked very pretty. I just feel like, yeah, that is a lot. I mean, you walking around basically naked with a little chain fence around you. There's no jealousy. She has a beautiful body, and you know, people can look at that maybe as an artistic expression. But yes, it is a lot. It's a lot. But like I said, if your husband is fine with it, child, then go on out there, show off your titties and your ass. And like, my whole thing is like, how comfortable are we sitting on these chairs with your ass and your coochie that close to the that's my concern. Child, I don't want nothing down there touching nothing. You know, I'm gonna have to lay a napkin down every time I sit down and all of this. And yeah, so I think she looked pretty. But yeah, I do think that the dress was a lot. You guys will have to give me your opinions on that. Do you feel like she can do both? Or is there a limit to people's sexy sides when they become a wife and a mother and, you know, so supposedly so involved, or spiritual, I should say, because I don't know if I feel like they are involved in a church anywhere. I don't know that if they are or aren't, but, you know, they're spiritual and it's all about going and praying and all of this. You know, even Russell caught some strays because everybody was like, why would he let his wife even go out like that? But like I said, he might have liked the look. He might have liked it. He might like the idea of many men oogling his wife. And yeah, that's just kind of how it is for me. It's not the first time that anybody has done this. It definitely will not be the last. Sierra wasn't the only person there at the Vanity Fair after party who was half naked. There was that white woman who had on that white skirt. There was a very long skirt, and it literally looked like a fucking sun visor up here for her titties. It just barely covered the areola of the boob, and it was like this, okay, with like two sun visors right there. I was just like, girl, that's a whole lot too, okay? But like I said, it's their artistic expression. If they man or they woman or whoever they with was fine with what they put on, child, I don't really care. But yeah, it was a lot. It was a lot. You guys let me know what you think about all of that. Did you watch the Oscars? Was there anybody else that you were rooting for? Do you agree or disagree with Angela Bassett not winning the award? Leave all that below.